Hello students, I am here with another video from the chapter of class 10th NCERT book, that is Carbon and its Compounds. Before starting today's video, I would like to tell you all that till now what all things we have discussed in this chapter. So we have started with the chapter that what is the presence of carbon, where is the presence of carbon in the living beings as well as non-living beings. So we found that even human body is also made up of the carbon and its compounds. Okay, it is also made up of compounds which is made from carbon. Now, if we talk about the trees, plants, animals, all the body of the living beings are made up of carbon. Okay, even in the non-living things also, such as fossils, fossil fuels, and then in the form of carbonate. So the carbon is going to be present in each and every living organism as well as the non-living organisms. Now, if we need to talk about the presence of the carbon in the human beings, then we could say that it is present in the body of the human beings as well as it is present in each and every living creature. Okay, now if it is present in the living creature, it means that it is going to form some types of compounds. Okay, now why is that so? That this carbon has a capacity to combine with each of the molecules, means there are the combinations of compounds which are present, which could combine with this carbon atom. Okay, and why this is happening? This is just happening because of the versatility or the versatile nature of the carbon. So we have also studied about the versatile nature of the carbon. What is that versatility of the carbon? It is just the main important point is regarding the bondings which are present in the carbon atom. So what is the bonding we are talking about? So we have read about covalent bonding in this carbon atom. Okay, now why this carbon compounds are going to form the covalent bonding? Okay, now why this covalent bonding, and what about why we are talking about this covalent bonding? It is because this is very much different from the ionic bonds. Okay, so if we compare the ionic bonds to the covalent bonds, there are various differences. So it could be whenever we are talking about the various types of various types of bondings. Bondings means it is the force of attraction. Okay, so we have also studied about it is the force of attraction. Okay, so this force of attraction could be in between two similar molecules, two similar atoms, or it could be in different atoms to form molecules. Okay, for example, we need to see the molecule of hydrogen. This is going to form a molecule, atom of hydrogen. Two atoms of hydrogen are going to join to form the one molecule of hydrogen, that is, it forms H2 molecule. Fine. Similarly, oxygen plus oxygen atom going to combine and form oxygen molecule. Okay, so this is about how is this compounds are going to form molecules. Okay, similarly, now if they form molecules, why they are forming molecules? Because they have uncertainty. They are unstable. They are very unstable in their atomic form. That is why what happens, they need to get stability. For gaining stability, it is the necessity of these atoms to combine with each and every whatever element they get to combine with. Okay, so if they have if they need to form the combinations, they are ready to combine with any of the atom which requires to donate the electrons or to accept the electrons. Okay, now I'll come back to the bonding part. Bonding means it is a force of attraction. Now it could be of two types. It could be ionic bond or the covalent bonds. So what about ionic bond? Ionic bond means it is a chemical bonding where the complete donation or acceptance of the electron takes place. Okay, so where is this electron coming into the picture? It is because that these electrons are able to they are able to be donated just because they are deficient in their quantity. Okay, and sometimes what happens in the electron excess molecules, they will donate the electrons from one atom to the another atom, because of which what happens, they are going to form a new combination of compound. Okay, so that is why, so these molecules which are being formed, it is because of the change in the tendency of gaining or losing electrons. Some of the species, they could gain the electrons, and some other species could lose the electrons. Okay, so whatever it is, when if the gaining or the losing of electron is taking place, it means it is the ionic bond. Now if we talk about covalent bond means it is you could say it is just a midway, that some of the atoms have a tendency to share the electrons. Now why sharing is taking place, this is the next question. So sharing is taking place just because that they're at the outermost shell, they have 4 electrons, and then it is not easy for the atom to lose these 4 electrons. Okay, so or to gain 4 more electrons in their valence shell, so that they could attain a stable electronic configuration. And all this complete story is taking place just to attain the stable electronic configuration. Okay, so this stable electronic configuration is the main concept because of which the donation of electron has come into the picture, the acceptance of the electron, even the sharing of the electrons also is a part of this stability, attainment of this stability in the molecules and the atoms. Okay, now why we are studying this bonding, why we are studying this covalent bonding specially? So we are studying this covalent bonding specially because we have to read about the carbon compound, and carbon is the metal which is having the capacity to combine with other elements. Okay, and what kind of capacity it is having? It is having this tendency to combine with the other atoms just because of its versatility, and one of its main concept of this covalent compound formation, I mean they could combine and form different types of molecules. It is just because that it is able to combine with other elements because of this covalent bonds. Okay, so this covalent bond is formed because of the sharing of electrons. Now whichever atom is needing this electron, it will take away the electrons. Okay, the shared pair of electrons belongs to each and every sharing species. Okay, it is just as a business which we do in our daily life. Okay, some people have to do the business, then they have 3 or 4 partners. So just for example, these 4 or 5 partners, 3 or 4 partners, these are just the valence electrons. So whoever is going to need them, they are going to combine they are going to combine their profits. Even sometime what happens, they are not ready to combine or do the business together. So what happens, they'll take up their asset, they are going to take up their money which they have used in that business. So what happens as a result, the bond breaks. Okay, so the business goes down. Similarly here also what happens, there is this carbon could do friendship with many of the elements, but just for the sake of sharing of electrons. After sharing, once the sharing is over, the carbon is going to attain its own position, as it is very stable in its atomic form also, because in the atomic form it is having 4 valence electrons, and it is ready to, this element which is carbon is ready to share its 4 electrons with any of the element which has electron deficiency. Okay, now what happens? See, we have also studied about the compound formation, in molecule formations, especially to show the covalent bond. So here also the single bond is there, double bond is there, triple bond is there. So these are the 3 types of bonding which we have studied. So what kind of force of attraction is there? So it has a force of attraction which is of 3 types. It creates a single bond, double bond, and it could be triple bonding. Okay, so it could be triple bonding. Now if only one pair of electron is being shared, then it is known as the single bonding. Okay, or it forms only the single bond, it is a saturated compound. And what about double bonding? So it could be just by the sharing of four pairs of electrons. Okay, and this happens, and this forms the molecule like this. Okay, and what about the triple covalent bonding? So triple covalent bonding takes place because of the molecule where three pairs of electrons are being shared, and it forms like this. Okay, so this is what is happening. This is what is happening here in the this is happening here in the single, double and triple covalent bonding. Okay, so here covalent bonds which are being formed, it is shown by one line, then single bond. If it is shown by two lines, it is known as double bond, and if it is shown by the three lines, it means it is going to be it is going to tell you about the triple bonding. Okay, so this single, double and triple bond means the compounds are sharing their electrons either in 1, 2 or 3 in number. 3 in number means that it would be in paired form. Okay, so if we need to study about the sharing of these electrons, it is taking place because of the sharing of the one pair of electron to form single covalent bond. Sharing of the two pairs of electron forms the double covalent bond, which is also coming under the process of they could be formed the different types of compounds like saturated and unsaturated compounds. Okay, so what about saturated compounds? Saturated compound means those compounds, those covalent compounds which have one single bond with in there, means if they are bonded, they will always have the single bond. Okay, and if they have double bond and triple bond, it becomes the it becomes the unsaturated compound. Okay, it becomes unsaturated compound. Now, if we talk about the versatility of the carbon, it is because of the presence of the carbon, presence and absence of this single, double and the triple bond. Okay, now if we talk about the saturated and unsaturated compound also, which is formed because of the presence of the double and the single bond or the triple bond. If we talk about the saturated compounds, we have already seen the we have also seen the structure of the molecules which are being formed because of the formation of this covalent bond. Now, another compound formed between the carbon and hydrogen could be like you could form it could be C2H5. Okay, now how this C2H5 could be formed? C2H6 it could be formed. So let us begin to form electron dot structure. Okay, we will see this electron dot structure. How we are going to form this electron dot structure, we will just see. Now, if I am going to form this carbon compounds having one single bond, first of all, okay, so we have the single bond, and also we will satisfy this single bonds with the H. Okay, so how is this formed? So we can see that this saturated compound is always formed with the sharing of one electron. So let us form this C2H6 molecule. Okay, let's begin with this. So if you want to make this C2H6 molecule, we'll just see how we can make this. Okay, so this C2H6 could be formed like this. For example, carbon is there with the 4 electrons in its outermost shell, and again this carbon is there, which only 2 carbon we need, so it has again 1 carbon as the one more carbon with 4 electrons, outermost electrons, which is displayed here in the form of the cross. Okay, now what happens? We are going to combine these 4 electrons with 1 hydrogen atom, again 1 hydrogen atom. This hydrogen atom is going to share its this electron with the 1. Okay, similarly here 1 H is going to share this, then H, then H and then H. Okay, so how many H are required? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it is going to share this 3, 4. Okay, so here how is this 4 electrons being shared? Similarly, these electrons are being shared, this is shared, all the 4 electrons are being shared by the 6 hydrogen atoms. Okay, this is how. And here in carbon also, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So its octet is also complete just by sharing of electrons. Okay, and how many pairs of electrons are being shared? Only one pairs of electron is being shared. And what kind of covalent bond is formed? The covalent bond which is being formed is a single covalent bonding. And carbon also has this 8 structure. Okay, 8 electrons in its outermost shell. Similarly, we can form many other compounds with having 3 carbon, 4 carbon, and whatever compounds which are being formed in this manner would be the saturated carbon compounds. Okay, it could be saturated carbon compounds. Now we will form another compound which is again see, it could be 3 carbons. If you take up 3 carbons, then how will you make it? 1, 2 and 3 carbons are there. The process will remain same. It will be satisfied with how many carbon atoms? 1, 2, with how many hydrogen atoms? 3, 4. This valence is satisfied. 1, 2, 3, 4. This valence is satisfied. This also satisfied. Okay, so here how much? Here H donating its 1 electron. Here H donating its 1 electron. Here H donating its 1 electron. Okay, and here H. This is bond. This carbon is going to share its extra carbon. This element is going to share its. This is going to share the another carbon is going to share the last electron which is present here. Now again, this is being satisfied with the another carbon with hydrogen. Here also hydrogen will share its 1 electron. Similarly, 1, 2 and 3 electrons are shared now. Now how much? 1 more electron is shared with this. Okay, so this circle is going to share with the circle. When circle means this is denoting the electrons. Similarly, here also H into 1 more compound is there. Okay, then in the next form again here H is there, which is having its own electron and the carbon's electron. Okay, and this carbon is again sharing its electrons with it. So how many H are required to satisfy to make this electron dot structure of the molecule with 3 carbon atom? Okay, so this is going to form. This is how we will study about the structure of the elements, the structure of the saturated compounds which are being formed. Okay, sometimes it could combine with another chlorine atom which has 7 electrons in the valence shell. It could form the HCl. Okay, and many compounds could be formed if covalent bonds are there. Okay, now if we take it here, only the branched chain or ringed structure is being formed, and here only we can say that it is the branch structure or it is the chain structure or it is the ringed structure. Suppose that if we need to form methane, then how many carbon atoms you are going to put? You are going to have only 1 carbon atom. Okay, I'll just tell you how to form these saturated compounds and what kind of bondings it is having. So we don't have to study about the unsaturated compounds and their bondings. We are just only studying about the covalent compounds by the sharing of 1 electron. I mean 1 electron is being shared, 1 pair of electron is being shared, then only it is known as the saturated carbon compounds. Okay, so if we need to form the ethane, okay, if we need to form the ethane, then we need 2 carbon atoms. Okay, that as we have seen. If we need to form methane, we have only 1 carbon atom which is satisfied by 4 H atoms. Okay, then next is propane. Propane, how many carbon atoms are required for making propane? It requires 3 carbon atoms for preparation of propane. And how many hydrogen? Whatever is left will be formed by this hydrogen atom. Okay, similarly this butane has to be formed. Now how many carbon atoms are required? It requires 4 carbon atoms. So 1, 2, 3 and 4 carbon atoms. Okay, and then we will satisfy with the H. Whatever is left will be satisfied with the hydrogen bonding. Okay, so that is why we can say that butane is formed, and this butane has 4 carbon atoms, and whatever valency will be left out will be shared by only the hydrogen atom, and because of which it is going to form the different different types of the bondings will be formed, and in this condition only single bond is there. That is why it is also known as a saturated compounds. Now saturated and unsaturated compounds have difference in their structure, they have difference in their energy level, it has the difference in the bond formation and the bond breakage. Okay, so we have different compounds which behaves in different manner just because of the presence or the absence of the different types of the bondings. Okay, now if we need to form this, if we need to form a chain structure could also be formed. Okay, I'll just show you the chain structure. It is very easy to form the chain structures also. Okay, and we will also study about the electron dot structure of these molecules. Okay, so we'll just form, if we need to form the butane, then how we will form? We are going to take up this 4 carbon, we will form butane. Now how this butane will be formed? Butane will be formed in a very simple manner. We will take 4 carbon atoms, okay, C, C, C and C. Okay, it has 4 electrons, 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so here we can see that 4 carbon atoms are present, in which 2 of them are already being bonded. In both the cases 2 of them are already being bonded with the carbon atom. Okay, so what happens? Sharing is already being done just in between the carbon atoms also. Whatever electrons are left free, for example here this electron is left, here this and this, so 3 electrons are left in the it is left, and it is going to be satisfied, or it is going to be forming the bonds with the help of the hydrogen atom. So hydrogen is going to combine with its electrons. So here its duplet is being completed, okay, and its octet is being completed. So this is how the complete bond is being formed. Okay, similarly all others also, H will be satisfying the places, and each and every place will always have the presence of 2 electrons, and these 2 electrons would be shared. So in this manner the single chain compounds are being formed, and because of which the covalent bonds are formed. Okay, now if you need to form another element like here, if you need to form this benzene, or sometimes cyclic structures are also present. So cyclic structures, if it is present, so it could form the cyclic structures like this. Okay, like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this forms cyclohexane. This is known as hexane. Okay, when I'm going to tell you about the different nomenclature, there is not much in the syllabus, but still we need to study about the nomenclature of the alkane. When I'm going to teach you this, I'll teach you how the name hexane, octane and butane and methane, ethane is being kept. Okay, so first we should understand that there are 3 types of the compounds could be formed. It could be the chain structure, it could be branched structures, and it could be the ringed structures. Okay, it could be the ring structures. So this we have seen that there are 3 types of the ways by which we could combine these elements. We could combine the carbon atoms to form these bond structures in the form of chain, branched or the ringed structures. Okay, so this is how the carbon compounds are able to find out, they are able to give rise to different types of compounds just because of the sharing of the electrons. And then we have also seen about the catenation power. Catenation power means it is very easy for the carbon to form long chain, and just because of the sharing of the electrons. Okay, similarly, if we need to find out the another property, the another versatility of this carbon, It is that it forms the chain structure. First of all, it forms the chain, long chain, that is known as catenation. It has tetravalency, which means 4 electrons are present in the valence shell, which could also participate in the bond making of with the help of the other elements. Okay. Similarly, it forms stable compounds. Stable electronic configuration is there with the other whatever compounds which are being formed by the presence of this carbon atoms or because of this bondings. What happens? It forms the stable structure. Okay, and it also forms in the form. It also remains in the form of the combined state. That is why this carbon is forming so many compounds, and these all compounds are very much stable in the nature. Okay, now when we need to study about these bonds, we need to study about, first of all, we have different forms of carbon. Okay, so we'll study about the different forms of carbon here first. So what are the forms of carbon? We will study this in detail. So how many forms of carbon are there? Forms of carbon. Okay, so the forms of carbon means they have these carbon can form different types of structures. They could be they form stable structures. Okay, so if they are forming stable structures of carbon, then okay, first of all, the compounds which are being formed because of the presence of the carbon, they are known as organic compounds. Okay, don't forget. So these are known as organic. These are known as organic compounds. Why they are known as organic compounds? They are known as organic compounds because of the two characteristic feature of the carbon, that is its tetravalency and catenation power. Okay, it has its catenation power. Then it is going to put together to give rise to a large number of compounds, and many of these compounds have a non-carbon non-carbon atom or the group of atoms attached to the different carbon atoms. Okay, so we can have different types of carbon atom present in it, and also they could combine with other elements, they could combine with other substances, other atoms to form various stable compounds. So all these compounds are known as the organic compounds. Okay, now if we talk more about these organic compounds, so these compounds were initially extracted from the natural substances, and it was thought that the carbon compounds are known as, or the organic compounds could only be formed within a living system. That is, it was postulated it was postulated that it is a vital force, okay, which is necessary for the synthesis. Now, next we have also seen that it could be prepared from different inorganic compounds also. Oxides also it could prepare. It could be found in the form of carbonates, hydrogen carbonate salts, and because of the formation of all these compounds, but they're in the combined state. So if they're in the combined state, it could be they could also be the organic compounds. So organic compounds are those which have carbon in them, and they could form very much stable compounds. That is very much important. So what are these organic compounds? Organic compounds are those which have carbon, which have the carbon in them. Okay, so they have carbon. They have carbon in them, in their structure. Okay, so they have carbon in their structure. So if carbon is present, it means that it is an organic compound. So children, we have to study these organic compounds in the form of alkane only. We need to study only one compound, one type of compound, that will be alkane. Okay, so that will be alkane. We will study about this, which has only one single covalent bondings. Okay, so this is forming the saturated compounds. Okay, so the saturated compound has also been studied that it is present in the difference of their carbon and hydrogen atom, and that is why it is known as homologous series. Okay, I'll just tell you about these homologous series. Before that, we will study about the structure various forms of carbon, and that will be studied under the heading of allotropes of carbon. So what are these allotropes? Allotropes of carbon are those compounds where the carbon could be formed in different structures. They could combine and form different type of structures. Okay, so that is known as the allotropes. Now we'll study this in detail. Carbon has many allotropes. The first one is graphite. Okay, it has a graphite as its allotrope. Forms of carbon means carbon could be formed in the free state, living in the combined state. Okay, so these are the various forms, and allotropes will also be the another form, children. Okay, so allotropes of carbon, there are especially three types. One is graphite, diamond, and one more is there, that is known as C60, or it is known as Buckminster fullerenes. Okay, so we'll study about these three carbon atoms which forms the allotropes. Okay, children, so we'll continue this in the next class. That is all for today's video, children. I'll meet you all in the next video with the next topic to be explained, and I'll continue with this allotropes of carbon in the next class. Okay, so that's all for today.